Hello, hello, and welcome to another podcast episode of Overpowering Emotions, where I talk all things big emotions, emotion regulation. And I am just doing a recap of some of the biggest pieces where we can set our kids up for success. I'm really going to go back to the basics just because we are coming into the holidays. And again, if you're listening at any time of year, this is important as well. But when we're looking at the very foundation of supporting resilient kids, it's really the connections that those kiddos have. It's the resources that they have, and connections is the biggest resource. So when we're interacting with our kids, whatever our role is, if we're a parent or a teacher or a therapist, whatever your role, being warm, responsive, validating, accepting, it's not new. It's things that we know. Actually, in 1938, it was Harvard University. They launched the Harvard Grant Study. It's one of the most comprehensive and longest studies that tracks students over 70 years. And they were looking at things like their physical health, their emotional well-being, just their overall success in life. And the findings were quite clear and quite consistent. Strong relationships are really the secret to having that happy and successful life over time. So, what makes a relationship strong? Well, feeling accepted, obviously, without any judgment, being loved for who we are, that's very important, and feeling nurtured, that's critical. And that aligns if we're going all the way back to Bowlby and Ainsworth, looking at the attachment theory. In the 50s, they found that kids who received that warm, nurturing care from their caregivers, they developed secure attachments. And that secure attachment really lays that foundation for positive development, for emotion regulation, and again, those successful outcomes later in life. And so why is this crucial? When we're looking at, we know it's important, but how come? Our brains are very experience dependent. So the brain's architecture, it's shaped out of our life's experiences, out of our life's interactions. Warm and responsive adults who are consistent, right? That really contributes to a very resilient and adaptable brain. And that builds the mental and the emotional framework to support that lifelong success. We need to have a strong attached relationship so that we can ask kids to do hard things, right? We're going to be asking them to be doing hard things. And so when we've got that trusting, secure relationship, that is key. When they're feeling safe with us, and they trust us, then we can push them. And we see that, even I love using examples of movies like Dangerous Minds with Michelle Pfeiffer, right? She was working with kids who were in gangs. School was not anything that they ever cared about. And she developed that relationship, that strong relationship, and then could push them. I think it's really helpful to look too at what that means, the specific things that we can do. I think we know this, but really operationalizing it and breaking it down can be really helpful. Being present and attuned is really important. And when we're looking, it's not just physically. Okay. It's showing kids we're emotionally present. So we're giving our full attention during our interactions. Maybe we're getting to eye level, right? Maybe we're next to them. We're listening actively. We're responding to their needs with empathy. We're putting our phones down. It's funny, when we're angry with children, we give our full undivided attention. We are looking directly at them. We've dropped everything else, and we usually have so much passion. But it's very rare that we're showing such direct, full attention when they're telling us a story. But we really want to make sure that they feel seen and heard and valued. We know that we feel those things and we think that we're trying to portray that, but they really need to feel that. When they're upset, we really need to make sure we're resisting the urge to dismiss their feelings. Instead, we validate their emotions. We're making sure that they feel heard. Okay, we don't need to be overly drippy about their emotions and dipping into all of that kind of thing, right? It's about showing that we've heard, and even more importantly, they need to feel heard. I love responding with an adjective. Wow, that really sucks. Sucks is the adjective, right? That's all we need to say. We don't need to say, don't worry about it. It's not a big deal. Pull up your side. Like whatever we say, whether it's lecturing or trying to make them feel better, it's not helpful, right? An adjective can be really helpful to say, hey, I hear you. That's terrible that that happened. Then they're going to feel heard and they're going to learn that their feelings are okay. And even more importantly, their feelings are manageable. So we're creating this environment where kids are feeling safe to express their thoughts and their emotions. And most importantly, they're feeling heard. Because if they feel hurt, they're more likely to do the hard things. Otherwise, they're going to push back. No, I really am sick. No, I really am scared. No, this is really a big deal, right? They're going to try as hard as they can to make sure that you're listening, right? That you get it. So we got to show them that we get it. And that's going to help, let go of some of that fight that's in their sail. So we could do things like making sure, they feel important by regularly checking in with them just to see how things are going, right? Keeping those lines of communication open without any judgment. I love going for my evening walks. As long as there's not, we're not at the rink, but the days that we don't have practices or things, I go for my evening walk with my girls and we alternate. And those are a great time. And they say they love that because all of my attention is on them and it's just time. We're side by side, so we don't have the pressure of face to face. I'm not asking lots of questions. I just create the space for them to talk and talk and talk. Now, I will say being warm and responsive doesn't mean saying yes to everything. We're not being permissive in our parenting. We do still need to set clear, consistent boundaries. That's very important, right? And with that secure attachment, creating those boundaries is so key. So we're setting up and we're enforcing those boundaries so kids learn about their expectations and the consequences of what happens if they do or do not follow, those rules and expectations. And that helps them feel secure. That helps them think about their decisions, think about their actions, right? They're going to push back against those boundaries. Certainly, that's their job. They have counter will for a reason. That's important to explore their identity and what's important to them and what's important to the family. They need to push back, but they need us to be consistent. And that's going to help create that predictability and safety in their nervous system. And like I said, it's going to keep their prefrontal cortex online because they know exactly what's going to happen. They know exactly how you're going to react. And eventually they'll stop pushing back all the time and then they can make decisions about their actions because they know which choice do I want here. When they break that boundary, we have to focus on disciplining effectively. And I've talked a lot about disciplining. Discipline, if we look at that root word, disciple, right? Student. So disciplining is meaning we're teaching our kids. We're not punishing our kids. Punishments don't work. That's another topic for another day. But this is really important when we're looking at that strong attachment. They need to know the boundary and exactly what is going to happen if that boundary is breached. And that includes how you're going to respond. And so you responding in a consistent way is very important here. Now, the attachment, the boundaries, that's important. And I think it'll be good for me to deep dive into those even more specifically. Right now, it's just kind of that highlight of the key points to think about as we leave this year into the next year and really capitalize on this over the holidays because we're going to be together. And so we've got lots of opportunities to practice that validating, really listening. And one thing I would love to add in here, because we don't think about it and talk about it and focus on it enough, is being silly and having fun. Really prioritizing family time that's fun, that's relaxed. It's free from pressures of school or work or expectations. It could be playing a game. It could be cooking together. It could just be taking a walk. It's just those little moments. It's those little moments that we can actually find joy and that actually helps strengthen our relationship. And it creates positive memories and it just strengthens our connection. So really look for those opportunities just to have fun and relax, right? And chill. It's not that deep, as my girls would say. Modeling all of this is important too. We're showing kids that, a healthy relationship means that we're respectful, we listen, we're taking perspectives, even if we don't agree, we're staying kind, we're being empathetic, right? All of those things in your interactions with your children, but with other people as well, or with your students, whatever your role is, but the other people that you interact with in front of them throughout the day too. It could be your partner, friends, family, colleagues, right? Kids are learning how to engage in the world with other people by watching us. Now, all of this to say, there's so many things to think about. I mean, raising kids and teaching kids for success isn't about perfection. We're all human. That's impossible. I make my mistakes too. But it's about being intentional to try to be present and responsive and nurturing, right? That's really important to build those strong connections. So, connecting and validating our kids, even if we don't agree with them, we're validating their perspective. That really sets the stage for kids who are going to grow into those confident, resilient, successful individuals later on in life. At the end of the day, the greatest gift that you can give your kid is the sense that they are seen, that they are loved, that they are valued. And it's those small, little, consistent acts of warmth, of responsiveness, of acceptance, of I've been thinking about you. Maybe it's a little post-it note that you slide under their door with a smiley face, right? Just those little seeds that you're planting all the time, right? The more that you can instill those positive interactions and those thoughts that I'm thinking of you and I love you and I accept you, the more you can put those into your interactions makes all the difference in the world. So for your homework today is really to practice that active listening, practice validating their experience. Even if you're frustrated, we got to be neutral. We need to be calm before we interact with kids and really look for those opportunities to have fun, even just, crank one song. We're going to have a 2-minute dance party, right? Those little things that you could be doing, little notes or, thumbs up or, hey, I was just thinking about you. Hope you're having a good day. Like those little tiny things can make all the difference. So find ways at least once a day to do that. I'll leave it there for today. If you enjoyed this episode, please share it with others who might benefit. Enjoy the rest of your day and help those kiddos be bold and courageous.